Today, on This American Dice, what happens when the private thoughts of a universally respected official, a murdered official, are discovered? Discovered not only to exist, but to be unaccounted for. Who could have Naritoki's journal, and what could it say? And, as Ishi's troops move out of the city, Taiyo moves closer to the heart of true power in the city of lies. Find out what happens today on This American Dice.
We open up on a shot at night. We hear water in the background.
Fades here?
On a shot of on a shot of like the corpse of a kind of like a kind of burly dude who he looks like one of the firemen we even possibly saw in the opening. He has that kind of same bearing about him. And maybe he has one of the horns with him. And there's a shot of the dock. There's another shot. We cut away to another dead guy who looks very similar to the first dude. Maybe he has in his hand a knife, and he's just got a big cut across his chest. And we see a blonde woman who, at this point, is kind of staring up, somewhat maybe either scared or shocked about what's happening. The wind is blowing, and then we kind of look at her. We get close up on her eyes to see oh yeah, she's spooked or surprised. There's something very shocked here, and we just see the close up of a person's feet kind of advancing toward her, and again wearing the equivalent of boots, kind of walking towards her, and they have a sword that's unsheathed.
Like a katana?
Yes, absolutely. A katana. And we cut away.
We see a city on a lush river surrounded by miles of fields of red poppies. Immediately around the city are green limestone walls. A group of traveling monks heads north toward the city on a main road. The monks are met by peasants along the way who offer alms in exchange for blessings and prayers. The camera flies towards Ryoko Owari Toshi, over its green walls and into the noble quarter. We see beautiful houses, a grand and imposing palace, and a foreign mansion that stands out among the traditional architecture. We pass over the north wall into the temple quarter where the city's population pays their respects to the fortunes, their ancestors, and countless other spirits. The temple of Amaterasu, the sun goddess, and the temple of Daikoku, the fortune of wealth, almost shine in the bright day. Moving west, we see the busy streets of the merchant quarter, crowded with vendors selling goods from all over the Emerald Empire, and even some from beyond. We cross over the Bay of Drowned Honor, passing fishing boats, cargo barges, and the pleasure crafts of the wealthy to arrive in the fishermen's quarter. As the name suggests, the docks are swarming with men and women unloading their catches, but they are joined by burly porters. The quarter is much dirtier, the buildings closer together and shabbier. We see two groups of rough men in an altercation. We head south, swiftly passing over the flat gray leatherworkers' quarter, the home of the Eta, the Untouchables. The only building that stands out is the city's crematorium, which belches forth thick, black smoke. When we arrive back at the river, we slowly float southeast to the licensed quarter. Calmly lit in the twilight glow of hanging lanterns, we see samurai patronizing fine sake and geisha houses. We see a man in a basket hat approach an open door as he is beckoned in by a beautiful geisha. And once inside, he removes his hat to reveal he was the monk from the beginning. Closing the door, the geisha looks at the camera and mouths, "Secrets." Ryoko Owari, City of Lies. Executive Producer, Jessica HBO.
There's some kind of device to let us know that several days have passed.
What season is it? Is it autumn at this point?
It's autumn, yeah. So winter's coming up pretty soon. There's some kind of thing. Maybe there's just a lot of shots around about the farm side and that kind of stuff to show us time is going on. We see them in the day, and we see kind of some other shots at night, and then we see some more shots in the day to imply time has moved on.
Do they have the same kind of leaves that we would have? Maybe not in Florida, but in general, they're sweeping leaves away or something?
Sure, yeah. So we see that a few days have passed by, and in fact, we do see people doing stuff in the morning. So Teardrop Island is normally pretty darn calm, but especially at night, it gets busier. We see that it's maybe in the morning, and so instead there's a few servants who are kind of cleaning up. So there are people probably sweeping up some fall leaves that have scattered about on the streets, but everything there is so like nicely maintained, which and it's very extra peaceful because probably there aren't a lot of customers coming in at 5 a.m. Yeah, it's like crack of dawn early. Like
Really.
like even any late night characters have been pushed out, or anybody who stayed here isn't up yet. The serenity though is broken by a group of Samurai Squad guys at the House of Foreign Stories.
Ooh, drunk samurai.
And they're kind of like they seem to be going in, and kind of coming up behind them is Osako. And yeah, I think that there are maybe some customers in there who get kind of rudely thrown out. And there seems to be like a raid going on that place. And you see kind of shots from inside as these guys in the Samurai Squad are looking for everything. Osako is in there and telling them like look for this and do this and look for that and look for this. And like she herself is also kind of doing this, and it's done with somewhat of all of the guys in the Thunder Guard wear helmets with red plumes on them. I feel that their stuff generally is nicer. The way you can usually tell them apart from the regular Thunder Guard is rather than carry the naganatas, I feel like they carry the full daisho of swords with them, and they'll oftentimes have those chains. I forget what that weapon is called.
Oh, what, like
yeah, and it's to like disarm people, so they can like fling this chain at them. Kasurigama. Duh. I think we all knew that. It just, brain fart, slipped my mind. But yeah, so they're doing that, and you kind of see this shot of Yogo Osako, who's just like kind of looking around through this. At some point, like she stops doing what she's doing, searching through something, and she looks around at all of the rest of these guys as they kind of continue to frantically do this. We cut to a meeting with Taiyo, Chosuro Hyobu, Jocho, Yogo Osako, Bayushi Korochika, Soshi Suryoku.
All the same folks from last time?
Mm-hmm. So the heads of each of those families in the city, and also Osako.
And Jocho too?
Jocho is also there.
What was the scary lady's name again?
Soshi Suryoku. And Hyobu says, it's been brought to our attention that there may be some damning information out there that unfortunately has managed to fall through our fingers. And Osako speaks up, and she says, the Gaijin Magda had been a lover of Naritoki. She was his mistress.
Our predecessor, right?
Yes. It seems he kept a journal. She did not know what was in the journal, being an illiterate foreigner. However, she did not have the journal in her possession when she left, and efforts to find it have not borne any fruit.
Damning?
I want you to make a read a person roll. I don't know on who.
Okay.
Yeah. So
on the conspiracy. We should call it that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that would be a read a situation roll in that case. But yeah, unless you're asking like more looking for a certain person and what they're doing. I just we can just keep the conversation going, and yeah. So you say you think there was damning information, and I think Hyobu will say, with Naritoki's passing, there was a desire among ourselves, even as you came in to work with us, to not speak ill of the dead, given the respect that all of us had for him. However, depending on what he wrote in his journal, he may have betrayed his own confidence with leaving this with his mistress.
Ended up.
I think Yogo Sako just says, like we can be sure that she had the journal. I don't think his mistress would want to present that to his wife. And Hyobu says, you see, Naritoki was a man who understood how important order is to this city. And Naritoki was someone whose efforts to safeguard that order, all of us in this room valued. He understood that opium was a part of the order of this city, and was willing to make sure that it in this city were kept safe to preserve that order.
If you're telling me this woman is holding help us in this case, I think that's more than enough for the question.
And I think Osako says, like, she's moved, like she's slipped away in the night.
I was with her.
So, from what we were able to find out, it wasn't with her. She left it somewhere, or with someone. It also wasn't at the House of Foreign Stories, or with any of the other, she wouldn't say employees or workers. She would say something else. Just the people at the house. It wasn't at the House of Foreign Stories.
Okay, here's maybe how I can just, how's that character?
On Governor Hyobu?
Yeah, she's the one talking, right? Mostly.
I think Yogo Osako was... Hyobu has been doing a lot of talking. Yogo Osako is trying to give you more of the specifics of the investigation, because she's the one that's been doing that.
Hyobu was the one who said, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're interested in...
Sure, I'm going to try that.
Sure. Reading Hyobu.
It's an 8, so I got that one question. What's your character really feel?
What's she really feeling? She's worried about this, and if you think about it from an investigator's standpoint, so Hyobu would be worried about this. Depending on how much exactly is in this, and who has the journal, it could mean different things. Like a Gaijin, like prostitute, basically, would have, if she were to come forward and be like, I have this information that's bad, no one would, she would be like, wouldn't even really be allowed to testify. Because if it can be shown that it's Naritoki's actual journal, it would be the words of a samurai, and it would be basically considered like posthumous testimony. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And which would be allowed. Mm-hmm. But it would have to be brought forward by a credible person.
So I guess the concern is that Ito guy had something in his journal that would reflect poorly on the cultivation of opium.
Yes. So we're telling you this so that you can keep an eye out for this as well. Not only would it cause significant disruption to our operations here in this city, but given that the city's order is based on those operations, it would mean it could cause a potential threat to the breakdown of this very city. Furthermore, a man who is held in high regard by everyone here in the city could have a significant blow to his character dealt by people becoming more aware of this journal. And I think Korochika kind of gets. He says, "Now if we can get to this other issue, it's like I can better supply the Mantis clan through Earthquake Fish Bay. If I can have my stuff go down on barges, we can get things there much more quickly, much easier." And they kind of get into a conversation about this. And so Governor Hyobu says, like, you know that we supply Crane Lands and Lion Clan, as well as Otis and Uchi. So you have the crab lands, which is a tremendous market, as well as Scorpion Lands, as well as our own clan's lands, and all of the other minor clans. And I think he brings up and thus the Mantis as a minor clan would make the most sense to be in. I'm bringing things down on barges. I'm bringing things down already south. Why not continue south to supply the Mantis? And Hyobu says, we've built a solid system that has operated very, very well for many generations. Not for many generations. She'll just say for generations. So any changes to this are a problem. We don't compete with one another. And he says, I'm not talking about competition. What I'm suggesting is simply that we rework the settlements that we have. And she says, let the people on the streets, I think she'll say let the people on the streets do the pushing and shoving to get around one another. We don't compete with one another. We each have what we have, and we've been very, very successful because of it. Any attempt to disrupt this threatens to pull all of this down around us. And Sarioku speaks up, and she says, I don't want to see anything changed at the moment either. She says this system works, even though I got the runt's end of this portion. And Korochika says you're the only one of us with 3 major clans. Each of us settle with 2. She says, and I think she'll bring up that the dragon, she says, the dragon and the phoenix don't want it. Plus, so any profit I make in unicorn lands is eaten up completely through that. If you wanted to talk about trading something, I would be more than willing to trade. And Hayobu again says, that's not why we are here. We are all here to make sure that all of us succeed. That's our goal, and why we work together to ensure this. And I think Korochika kind of pops it over to you and says, Taiyo-san, is there perhaps any wisdom you'd have for us in this matter, from an enforcement perspective?
I don't know how she thinks about that, because to her, given jurisdiction over the city, completely fine with it going on in the city, I feel pretty uneasy about shipping it elsewhere. I think she might try and change the subject. She'll say to Soshi woman.
Soshi Suryoku.
Let's see. You being in charge of the routes to unicorns, I'm still hoping that maybe the unicorn here in the city might slip up and have fuel to implicate them in the illegal trade.
I think Korochika will say like you're among friends. I think Suryoku's response is implicating them here doesn't help sell any more of the product in Dragon or Phoenix Land. Two rather flaccid markets.
Some of my colleagues we've been working here for 9 months, I think, at this point. The better part of a year. We're all getting hungry for some success in this. I can't hold them at bay much longer if they don't a bite from.
And Hayobu kicks in on this, and she says, perhaps efforts can be redoubled to focus on those most obvious threats to the order of the city. So the Ryoko ninja, Fade, two simple suggestions.
I've been making progress in the bandit, the thugs that call themselves Muswari. And I guess I'll look at Jocho, I guess. Make sure that we meet with Ishi, rather, and make sure that plans to go against Fade are progressing as fast as possible.
Not a bad idea.
Fear of all of my colleagues, he's the one most easily distracted.
Actually, the next person we go to is Ishi. To you and your men, looking at a small, not even that small. It's about the size of a kind of a standard suburban house, and it's outside the city, essentially in a village near the city. So let's say it's here.
Okay.
And I think Shige will tell you that we were. So this is, I think he asks you, so this is to be the new place where we're staying.
Yes, the city is growing ever more dangerous.
Goro speaks up, and he's like, I don't know, we're outside of the walls, and if anything goes on in the city, aren't we supposed to be in there?
Please surprise.
And I think Shige says, the bandits?
No, there's more than bandits.
What do you mean? I think Shige asks that again.
The opium epidemic that has gripped this city. The men have died.
And Goro speaks up again. So then you think that the government of the city is responsible for the opium trade?
At least the Scorpion. They haven't grown to disrespect it.
These guys are kind of mulling that one over. I think Jocho arrives in the scene. He kind of dismounts from a horse, and he's like, Ishi-san, wonderful. I hope you find that this facility is significant enough size for you and your men.
Oh, it's wonderful. The grounds around it will be perfect to train in their spare time.
Absolutely. There are some villagers near enough by that they can provide whatever services you might need in case something comes up. And as you can see, it's a mere 5 minutes. It's a mere 5 minute ride to the gate, the name of which I don't remember right now. Yeah. So I think it is actually called that. It is the Gate of Oni's Teeth. Nailed it. Good job. So yeah,
we've been playing this for 10 games.
Yeah, I know, a lot, right? So he kind of looks around and says, I'll send some people out here to kind of improve on this and this on the grounds. I assume for your men, you'll probably be interested in this type of field arrangement. I can have someone come out to clear this out.
Great help.
And he's like, well, if you have anything that you need to ask me about in any way, Just let me know.
Fade.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get somebody to leave another town, go out, and like whatever.
Well, I mean, he's the head of the Thunder Garden, so if you were going to use the Lightning Squad to do that stuff, he'd definitely be the guy to talk.
We're good with him on the leading part, and then the other caravan is the bait.
Oh.
I don't think Joshua's the man to talk about the bait caravan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I think, yeah.
Yeah, no. So, nope, all's going smoothly. We're preparing bait caravan. Will join us to go capture Fade.
Excellent. Well, yeah. It says, well, I've enjoyed a good hunt. This one should be good as well. Kind of hops back on his horse, wishes you farewell, and rides off. Yeah. And I think Goro is like, so you suspect these guys are up to something no good?
It's almost been confirmed.
All right. I don't know. Then why are we working with him to do this thing? Shouldn't we arrest him?
He's probably the most honorable out of his entire clan, other than Taiyo. He will do splendid.
They're doing.
I wish it was in the.
I'm just lost. Yeah, because I mean, if he's helping us with that, then don't we want him around?
Until that's done, to figure out a way to stop this city poisoning itself and the country, we have to work with Scorpion for a while.
Oh, all right. I think Shige doesn't get it. Goro's kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Like, once you eventually said we have to just wait, like, Goro's kind of like, all right, sure. Shige, I think, is, like, looking real lost on that one. So I think you got to make almost a manipulate roll on this.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
My friends and loved ones.
To essentially just convince, he's like, I think he says something like, but if the unicorn guy's son died from that, I mean, wasn't his son the one breaking the law?
Well, I rolled a 12.
Yeah.
There are many places where the opium is like legal and controlled, and the emperor allows this, but there are 100 places within this city that give this medicine away to profit off of the death of not rot.
Okay. I think he kind of like was like, oh, all right. He kind of like the seriousness of what you're describing kind of is like, oh,
does sound important.
Yeah.
Oh, good then.
I think, yeah. I think they're fine with that, Gareth. And so they kind of just start setting up things in the place. This is only like a couple days after you had initially met with him, but I think Shrimp kind of contacts you, Yugure, and to tell you that shipment has arrived.
You scope it out, or he just sees that it's arrived?
So he can tell you that it was a shipment brought in by what he seems to be are hired guys with one retainer or servant that seems to be from Dragonlands.
All right.
But otherwise, the rest of the people that came with it were hired help, essentially, not only drivers to actually bring the stuff in, but there were some guards that were going along with it, and it's a pretty big amount of the stuff.
Did he actually look inside and Jade, presumably?
He says it seems like oh well, yeah, it seems like it.
All right, well, I would like to see it as well.
Yeah. You guys head down there to Southern Treasures, or up there, probably north, to Southern Treasures, and Whisper is very excited, and with Whisper is this woman, Yasuki Nobuko, who you remember from the dossier. She's crab from the Crab Clan. The Yasuki are the Crab Clan, diplomats, kind of. And the closest thing they have to diplomats, they're more like merchants than anything else. They actually used to be part of the Crane Clan. They're the only family to leave one clan and join another. But anyway, so they're there, they're looking over these things, and when she sees you, she says, oh, you must be Agasha Yugure. So excited to see you. I'm so very excited. Wonderful. This is wonderful merchandise. I'm glad that we could be moving this with you.
My sister-in-law has been managing most of the household duties as I fulfill my role as magistrate.
Oh, absolutely. It would only make sense. A woman running a household is exactly what you need.
But it would be short-sighted of me not to at least check up on the shipment while it's right here in my own city.
Oh, of course.
And I mean, some samurai say that this sort of thing is below them, but I can appreciate a man who has a keen eye for the understanding of business.
Well, very good then. Let's. I'd love to inspect it and hear all about your, plans, but like your experiences with this contract so far.
She says, "Well, I purchased this from Gobai-san." Or more specifically, Whisper has purchased this from Gobai-san's man, so-and-so. Because technically the merchants are doing all of this stuff.
Right. Trading hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's like beneath samurai.
Yeah, is the whole idea. So, like, Whisper purchased this from Gobai's man. What was his name again? And Whisper says the guy's name.
So
it was at a pretty penny, I'll say, but I think I can make quite a profit. I'm quite experienced in matters of trade, particularly between this city and my homeland. Isn't that right, Whisper? Yes.
So are we like walking toward the...
I think you're there. I think you're at the thing, yeah. And there's maybe, let's say, 3 carts full of jade.
Pretty full a lot, right?
Yeah.
I want to try to read a situation.
Go for it.
Pretty good numbers so far.
Yes.
Ooh, I like
This is
it.
a
What's your question?
sagacious, so 5.
What's a good question? The number 5.
Good experience.
I don't think that 5 yields a question.
Go ahead and ask one anyway.
What should I be on the lookout for?
What should you be on the lookout for? You know that you don't own this anymore. It's been sold. This is hers.
The woman or the stepsister? Sister-in-law.
This woman bought this from Gobai.
Yeah.
So any claims that you make over this are not the claims of a person who's actually in this like business deal.
Well, I just want to look over it thoroughly, unless someone's going to stop me and look at all the jade.
So she says it all got here. It all got here expertly done, just fine. And she'll kind of motion to it, and it is based on what Gobai had described the amount that would be there.
All right. Well, then you said there's like a dragon envoy or something here? Like a guy?
So,
One dude?
oh, I think that person isn't. That none of those people are there.
But I heard of them somehow.
Shrimp said that person was there, and now that person is not present. So,
Well, I'll thank this lady.
and Shrimp is with you still. He can be.
Yeah. So I'll thank this lady and ask Shrimp to help me find that team.
Mm-hmm.
Because my main concern was with the... I was just kind of worried there's something else getting snuck through.
Mm-hmm.
If they're just buying and selling jade, like, not thrilled about it on account of probably my sister-in-law's benefiting from it more than anyone else in my family, but not much I can do about that from here. But as long as it's just jade, oh well. But I'd like to hear more about it from someone who has more experience with it, and obviously all these merchants are just buying and selling jade. So are there any secrets or stories that I could somehow discover about?
I think you and Shrimp can go to do that stuff. Yusuke Nobuko asks you, she's like, well, if you'd want, I could just purchase this directly from you or from you going forward. I'm sure Whisper could work out something with your man to make it much more worth your while.
Yes, I can imagine we would both make more money than fewer middlemen. Well, do follow up about that. I don't know if Buttons is equipped for that, but Shrimp around may help out. So yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay. Yeah, so you and Shrimp are going to try to find the hired personnel that were hired to come down here.
Yeah.
And especially someone who Shrimp described as someone who looked like who wasn't just hired help.
Right.
All right. Probably, I think that's another sagacious roll.
All right.
That's a little bit better.
That one's a 9.
One's a 9. A little bit better indeed. So, and actually, with Shrimp helping you...
It's a 15!
Wow.
No, I think it was a 9?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a 10.
Oh, that's close.
I think he can actually assist you in this stuff, where he's like, oh yeah, this bar over here would be where these guys would go. And you can find
You find the hired help.
Okay.
And they're dudes who are kind of getting drinks at a nearby bar. And Shrimp kind of goes to hang out with these guys and can get them to be down to talk to you.
Yeah, I guess it would be weird if I went in and sat with them.
Nope. I think they're samurai in the capacity that most of the Thunder Guard are samurai, where they're not full two-sword samurai.
Okay. Well, then I'll do that. I'll go and sit with them. Maybe I'll get my own tea first and then bring it to the table.
All right.
Say,
Shrimp looks at that and rolls his eyes.
So I'll sit down or ask first. I'll say, may I join you?
And they're like, yeah, and I think that's fine, because if you're Shrimp's buddy and he's kind of been welcomed into this group with these dudes. I know they have a picture of him in the thing. Shrimp is a good several inches shorter than the average man in Rokugan. I feel that he would be 5'3" in our world. So he's pretty short.
And his nickname somehow.
Mm-hmm. Behind a boat.
Like shrimp.
Yeah, like shrimp in the water.
Right, I forgot.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I'll chat it up with these guys a little bit, but mostly I want to know about their trip, about how they got hired, about what instructions they got from, I assume, my sister-in-law, but...
Yeah. So, one of the guys will tell you his name is Tsuko, and Tsuko...
Honor.
Yeah, Tsuko will tell you we had to, it was pretty uneventful. The only thing that was the big pain was stopping over and over again at every port and city and customs inspection and everything like that. I mean, we could have had this down here a lot easier, but a lot easier and a lot more quickly if we had just moved on through. We didn't have to stop at every one of these spots, and yet there we were, stopping at every checkpoint and place where somebody's got to check our papers every time.
Now, from my understanding of the world, is that something I could have easily fixed with this little passport thing?
Yeah, you could have made that much, much simpler.
All right.
And so it's otherwise, they were hired not specifically in your lands, but probably a city or a town nearby. And they met with the caravan when it kind of came into that city or town, and they left with a dude who said that he was from that worked for your family.
They worked with a guy who said he worked for my family.
Right. The person who hired them was somebody from your family, and and he was essentially the one kind of in charge of the caravan as it came here.
All right. Well, it sounds like there's nothing exciting or interesting to learn here.
All right.
Just basically, you could be doing business better.
So, he's like, if you want, I think Tsuko says, if you want, we got to either find something down here or head back up. We could, if you guys want to hire us to follow that, to keep guarding that caravan, I mean, something we'd be down to do.
Yeah, I did already so. I think Yugure is just super nervous about this whole idea of selling things.
Mm-hmm.
This.
Yeah, it wasn't meant for sales.
I hate when Amazon comes around.
I just want to write poetry. Well, what if I wanted to hire them to guard the jade until it reached its destination, and then come back and tell me where it ended up? I'll waste all kinds of money.
So you could hire this crew of guys for a wealth to go and do that, and that Shrimp agreed that he'd stay with a group of people that he could kind of keep in line. You also, I don't know if you paid him already.
Nope.
So yeah, he's not doing this for free.
Right.
So he'll also want a wealth he can describe to you to stay on, essentially to work for you for a month. And so he will say that he's down to do this. You already know, basically, based on what he said, that he'd be down to do that. So you also know that's not yours.
at this point.
No, I'm not trying to get it back. I just want to see what happens to it. Like, I feel responsible for the jade that came from my family's land. I mean, I guess jade basically is just like a commodity. Like, what do they do with it? Isn't it, like, magically used by the crab to defend from the Shadowlands?
Yeah. So it has a purifying and protective power against the Shadowlands taint.
It doesn't sound that bad. It doesn't sound dangerous. I think just maybe never mind. I'm not going to hire these guys.
Okay. Do you want to ask any of those read a situation questions?
I didn't do a roll of it.
It's not good.
Well, you did one earlier that you did not succeed with.
Right.
We had you and Shrimp make a sagacious roll to find where these guys were, so we could say that was your best way into these dudes.
Okay.
And now, theoretically, we got 2 more of these bad boys.
All right. I guess. What should I be on the lookout for?
Ooh, what should you be on the lookout for? They describe to you the person, and Shrimp, like, corroborates just the physical description of this person, and they describe this, the guy who was one of your retainers. You do not know who that is at all. They're like, oh yeah, this guy who worked for your family.
But he's just unfamiliar.
And you're like, I don't know who that is.
Well, guess I'll ask who's in control here.
Your sister-in-law was able to set all of this stuff up on her own. So, and get this big shipment of stuff. Essentially, you realize that she didn't even have to get it to Crablands. She could just sell it to Go By. Go By could then sell it to Yusuke Nobuko. Then Yusuke Nobuko could bring it back down to Crablands and sell it down in Crablands.
Okay.
So she seems to have set all this stuff up.
So she is the one in control. It's not like, for a second I was worried maybe it's this mystery guy, like...
No, that person
he's working for her.
That person seems to have done what you understand to be the thing she was trying to do.
Right, but I don't know who he is, which makes him suspicious.
Didn't you tell her not to? Did you ask her to, or did
I don't remember. All I remember doing, not saying that I would give her, like, pass.
Right.
But I may be just forgetting.
They can tell you that his name was Ino. Agasha Ino. And you're like,
my name.
Yeah, and you're like, there is not an Agasha Ino.
Maybe he's a fake Agasha.
The thing you were going to do?
Yeah. Alright,
I'm Yuga. I mean...
Scorpion.
Have my long beard and mustache.
They're just done, right? They finished their job, they're in this city now, and they got nothing to do.
Right.
So they find a new job?
They can probably get some kind of work going back up, but they might just have to settle and just head back up on their own, just kind of like, all right, and that was that. And I think they're like discussing this, and they're not necessarily like all like a group of guys that all work together all the time, and so they're not Ronin. They probably are connected to the Miramoto family, but they're the lower degree of samurai from you guys. So like I said, like most of the Thunder Guard is that. I think they're called Bu Samurai, like BU, but I'm not on.
Guess. I don't have the money to hire them. I don't know what I'd hire them to do. But I'll pay Shrimp.
Mm-hmm.
And I want him to find this emo guy. Enoch.
So Shrimp is down to do that. You guys work out a thing. His whole deal, he's like, yeah, I'll work for you for a month.
Yeah. I had said I was going to pay him in advance, so he'd already been working for me a little bit before I paid him. So I don't know how much I paid him backward and how much he'll...
Sure. But just he'll work for you for a month for 1 wealth.
Right. So I couldn't afford him last session, but now I'll pay him to just kind of keep him on, and that's what I want.
And you want him to go find... You want me to find this Eno guy?
Yeah.
All right, that could probably do that.
He might be on his way out of the city, like, did his thing, so work quickly.
Sure. Now maybe Aji is at Teardrop Island. Aji's at Teardrop Island, and the House of Farn Stories was like maybe closed for a day,
but now it's open again. You're greeted warmly as a person who comes in. You probably know some of the staff already. And,
That's what I look for, actually. It's like the same people work here?
yeah, the same. You see the same folks there that you saw before, with one significant exception. Obviously, Magda not present. So,
Where's Magda? That's the host.
oh, and she'll say like, "Oh, I thought you had heard. My apologies. She went back home.
Oh, I didn't know that. For how long?
I guess she left. She wanted to go back home and then visit some of the places from her stories. That sounds like a very long trip. I'm not sure how long that'll take.
Sign her papers for her to go. I'll just leave.
Oh, well, that's... Unfortunately, she left 2 or 3 days ago, however many that... Yeah.
Replace her?
And, she'll say...
too much.
yeah. Oh, well. I'm sure...
Me.
Oh, she was... you're asking who the new... there's a term, I'm sure. There's the new madam of the house.
Yeah.
Oh, she says if you can, I can have you meet her if you'd like. If you want to, we can pull up a room for you and some drinks, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Is she also blonde?
Oh, they'll say this woman will say like, oh no, but I'll have her come and visit you in just a moment.
All right.
She just goes by Okasan, and you get a room. It overlooks, or it has these like big like stained glass windows that are kind of very beautiful, and they depict a scene of like a horse, like a man riding a horse, and kind of leaping over a river. And you sit down at a kind of a low table. And a servant comes in and kind of brings you some sake. And eventually, a woman in her late 50s or I'd say mid to late 50s comes in. She is a Rokugani woman, but she's dressed in like a kimono, but made out of, but the material that the kimono is made out of seems very exotic. It seems like not the kind of traditional silk and like the usual patterns that you would see kimono made of. And she comes in and says, yeah, she has a basket hat on, and she was the monk from the beginning. And she says, Aji-sama, so wonderful for you to grace us again with another visit. Maybe pours you some more sake. What is the word that means mother? That we just figured out and I forgot already and I'm going to write down. Okasan? Could you spell that for me?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you got it. O-K-A-S-A.
Yes. And so
There's a line over there.
The
first day.
Okasan.
Thank you.
So she kind of like pours you some more sake. And, her accent is like a unicorn. She has a slight unicorn clan accent. So not at all the accent Magda had. A slight unicorn clan.
The regular.
No, she looks like a typical Rokugani woman in her mid to late 50s, dressed very, very well, kind of holding herself very properly.
Well, I didn't know my reputation preceded me. What's your name?
And she says, everyone here just calls me Okasan. There's a line over the first A in the word.
Fancy.
In case you're writing it down. So she says, like, oh, we always seek to make sure to take care of our very distinguished guests.
You close with Magda?
And she says, Magda and I had worked together in the past. I helped her set up in the very beginning when she first arrived in the city. But now I'm to run this house for Sanafusa-sama. Oh, I think she won't even say his name. She'll just say like for its patron. And I think she'll say like, but all of this is so. She's like, all of this is so taxing. I'm sure. Here, and she'll clap her hands And oh no, I think I'll have to edit this. So she'll clap her hands and Jinako, yeah, she comes in and she has a Samuelson plays that kind of tries to play like a soothing song for you and says and Okasan says, should we she'll just kind of sit to listen to the music for a little while, and if your cup gets empty, she'll kind of keep offering you if you want more, and she'll eventually ask, this is a place where your desires are fulfilled. Jinako, yeah, where your desires are fulfilled. Is there what is it basically what is it that you desire?
Recently fallen in money problem. I wish I could find a way to solve that. Do you know of any jobs I can do? Anything to help?
Mow the grass.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a bodyguard, no, bouncer.
And she'll kind of say oh well, I'm certain you already provide. I'm certain that just the reputation of your membership here provides affords this place with a certain degree of protection. I'm positive we can almost say that you are a bodyguard here. More.
So let's discuss my paycheck.
So yeah, she'll basically say that and say and we're so grateful for that protection. I'm certain that, and she basically brings up and that's why you're trying to help. The way I'm about to say this isn't probably as subtle as she'd bring it up, but then she says that's why you don't need to worry about a bill when you're here.
Wow.
So, do you want to know something from this lady?
Yeah, let's read her.
All
I need
right.
to know. I have a 9. I get one question.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what's her role in the city, other than being, running House of Horns.
I'm going to answer that as, what does your character intend to do?
Yes.
Okay. She'll talk with you for a bit as you're listening to Jinako play that music, and Okasan was brought in basically to run this place, and she's going to run it. Her game plan here is to run this as a successful business. She wants this place to make money for herself and her patron. So what she intends to do is run this place as a solid business. That's her game plan and her goal. To make sure that her being trusted with this job to show that it was a good decision. You got it.
I think I must be going, Okusan. But if you have any information that could help me solve crimes in the city, I would have notified me of anything you might oversee.
Oh, absolutely. Similarly, if you hear anything else about, if you know that if any of your colleagues or the city law enforcement are going to be interrupting business, please, a warning would be most appreciated, so as to safeguard the privacy and serenity our customers seek when they come here.
Oh, has there been a disturbance recently?
She'll say, just a day or so ago, timeline's fuzzy, just a day or so ago, the Thunder Guard came here looking for something. It's rare that they do that. I haven't seen, I hadn't heard about anything like that since Naritoki showed up looking for those ninja.
He came here to look for ninja?
He came to the island.
Oh, the island.
So, but the Thunder Guard came looking here specifically for something.
Who is in charge? Raid.
She says, based on what some of the girls had told me, the magistrate of the city came here.
Oh,
so Yogo Osaka. So,
do you know if they found what they were looking for?
We don't know specifically what they were looking for, but they didn't leave with anything they didn't come in with.
Where did they look?
She says, just about everywhere.
Sorry, I did not know that this event happened. But yes, I will give you a heads up if I anything that would disturb.
Oh, thank you very much.
Good evening.
All right, anything more you want to do while you're on Teardrop Island?
No, I think I'm good for now.
and the camera kind of
Night
fades
water.
in. Night water. Like,
You know what cologne I wear.
just kidding. That's what I fill my underwear up with each night. So with that cologne. All right, so we had.
Oh, the hour of the worm.
Yes,
That
this
was-
is the hour. Yes, the hour of the worm. The hour of the early bird.
That's
That's
next
the
hour.
next hour.
Oh, okay, got it. So the early worm gets the bird. That's the story.
They're terrible drivers.
Yeah, the great dancers.
Cut me off.
Was that because you can cut a worm in
That's
multiple
why I gave
parts?
him the bird.
Oh, okay. I get it. This will all stay in.
This
This is the goal. This is what all our Patreon backers want to hear. The
How much should we get? 50 cents a month?
Depends on how many bird jokes we make.
yeah, it all depends. Yeah, the Ornithological Society of Central Florida kicks in some cash every time we bring up birds. So the
Thanks for the +1. I say that out of character to him.
Oh, out of character, the actor who plays Shrimp is like that was cool, and he high fives you, and then you guys get real serious and back in character. And again, it's Joe Pesci who's playing this character.
it's a workers' cooperative. Yeah, they sell vegan wraps.
Underneath managed.
Yeah.
Also,
Kelly Staffing now runs this exotic brothel ? No.
Yeah.
You can if you'd like.
Yeah.
All right. So, so she'll clap her hands and Jinako, one of the cases I've met there. Yeah, I know. Her legs are very, very wide, about as wide as her waist. And my mom won't let me get them because they're way too expensive. Anyway, it's 1997.
The joke is very topical.
Yeah. Chinkos.
City of Lies is Tone as Kakita Aji, Brandon as Hida Ishi, David as Bayushi Taiyo, Andrew as Agasha Yugure, and Austin as your game master. The theme music for City of Lies is Mission of Danger by Lobo Loco. Additional music for this episode includes Into Hyperspace by the Astrometrics and Petrichor by Midair Machine. This American Dice Ryoko Owari City of Lies uses the City of Lies box set by Greg Stolz, published by Alderac Entertainment Group. The mechanics used is a modified PBTA system by Brendan Taylor of Galileo Games. Join us next time for more This American Dice. Hey everybody, if you could please rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcatcher, it would really help This American Dice. And for every 5-star review we receive, we'll read it on air. Join us next week for another episode of This American Dice.